Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you're not new, then thank you guys so much for coming back. Today is actually a first for me because I'm doing a fragrance review, but on one fragrance, and I usually don't do like an individual review like that, but this has been like really anticipated for me personally, and also it happens to be the most expensive perfume in my collection because, as you guys know, I just usually can't justify the price. But honestly, since this came out, I've been lusting over it. I've never lusted for anything so hard in my life, other than my husband, of course. But yeah, honestly, since it released and I saw the notes, every single note in there appealed to me. I really felt like I was going to love it. And then when I tried to get it, I couldn't. It was sold out, and it was so close to Christmas, so I kind of just decided I would put it on my Christmas list. I know, I'm super rambly, but I ended up getting it as a Christmas gift. I'm super grateful. My best friend got it for me. But if he didn't get it for me, either way, I was going to get it myself. I had tried to get it myself, but it was sold out. So let's talk about what it is. Okay, this is Kilian Angel's Share. Literally the most bougie packaging I have. The most expensive fragrance in my collection for sure. And like I said, usually I would not get anything like this, but every single note in here appealed to me. It seemed right up my alley, and I'm not gonna lie, I saw one of my favorite YouTubers, she mentioned this in one of her videos, and she said it smelled like a Cinnabon, and from the second she said that, it was literally like I needed it, and then that's when it kind of began, and I was trying to get my hands on it and I couldn't. So I'm super grateful that I got it for Christmas. If you guys want to see my review and like my thoughts on this fragrance, then just keep on watching. So I did write down some notes because I feel like sometimes when I do videos in general, I can get a little distracted and then I forget what I wanted to say. So if you see me looking down, it's just because I made some little notes that I don't forget anything. First of all, let's start by the packaging. It's amazing. It's so bougie and so beautiful. You know, I'm attracted to any juice that looks like this. It's supposed to look like a cognac or a brandy glass, and it does. My husband has a glass that looks exactly like this. I love this. It's a unisex scent. So that's that. This bottle is really luxurious. It says Angel's Share. Can I get it on there? Ooh, she's stunning. And yes, if you're wondering, I did my makeup because like to resemble how I feel when I wear this. So they go together, okay? So yeah, this is what the bottle looks like. I'm gonna read the notes. So the notes in this are cognac, cinnamon, tonka bean, oak, praline, vanilla, and sandalwood. Literally all of those are like so Amanda, it's ridiculous. But okay, so those are the notes. When it opens up, I'm wearing it today. I got this on Christmas Eve, which is amazing because I got to wear it on Christmas Day. Okay, so when it opens up, I definitely get the booziness. There's cognac, I get that, and you get some sweetness, but the sweetness comes from, it almost smells like fermented fruit that you use to make the cognac. So the sweetness to me in the opening, you get the booziness definitely with the sweetness that comes from like the fermented fruit, and I do get a little bit of woodiness, which I think is the oak. And again, the cognac is like it sits in an oak barrel, you know, so I feel like they all kind of go together. They're so well blended. You do get that booziness, and I love that because I love booziness in fragrance, like a boozy note in fragrances, but I don't always pick up on them as strong as I want to, and this one I do really get that. The opening is super boozy. It has that sweetness from the cognac. I feel like it's like the fermented fruit that is used to make the cognac and the wooden oak like from the barrel, you know, so they're just like blended so nicely. And then I do get that cinnamon, but the cinnamon to me, when people were describing this, I've worn it a few times by the way, when people were describing this, they were saying it was like really, really heavy on the cinnamon. So I was kind of expecting it to be like a cinnamon bomb. I mean, like almost like when you open ground cinnamon for baking, like you know how you get like that dust of like dry cinnamon, you know what I mean? Like that kind of powdery cinnamon. I was kind of expecting like a a lot more cinnamon. You definitely get it, but it's mixed with the booziness, it's mixed with that sweetness. And then after I get the cinnamon, which is delicious, I love cinnamon, by the way, then I get the vanilla, and the vanilla is like a creamy vanilla. It kind of just adds like a little vanillic veil over everything else you have going on, but it's not too sweet. It's never too sweet on me. But yeah, so I do get the cinnamon, I get the vanilla, but the vanilla honestly just adds like this nice little veil, this creamy veil over everything, which again, I love. And then, yeah, and then there's tonka bean in here. The tonka bean to me honestly just adds a little bit of powderiness. It helps it like blend, it adds that powderiness. And then I only get the sandalwood in the dry down. So this is one fragrance, I should say, that I really feel like I can get all the notes that are listed. I feel like I can smell all of those notes, but sometimes like in different stages. So I will say right off the bat, I love like the first few hours of this, the opening, that boozy cinnamon, a little bit of sweetness, but like I said, it's never like cloyingly sweet. Personally, that's what I think. A man might find this too sweet, but that's because men's fragrances typically aren't that sweet, but compared to other women's fragrances, it's never like cloyingly sickeningly sweet. So I really can appreciate that. I love that boozy cinnamon opening. Honestly, adore it, and I really am glad that I can pick up on the booziness, because that's huge for me. I like boozy scents personally. And then like I said, you do get that creamy vanilla, kind of just like mixed with everything. It just adds a little bit of creaminess. You get a little bit of the woodiness, but nothing is ever too much. I feel like it's really well blended. I like everything that's in here though, so I'm super biased. And then in the dry down, so this lasts for hours, okay? For the first few hours, it smells a little bit different. Like I said, there's stages, but it lasted hours. I love the first few hours, and then as it dries down, I sprayed this, for example, I sprayed this at 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve, and on Christmas Day, the next day, I could still smell it at like around 10 or 11 a.m. So it lasted forever, but in the dry down is what I was left with, like a vanilla, cinnamon, and sandalwood, I feel like. So it was a little bit more subtle. It wasn't as loud, obviously. It wasn't really projecting. It was like you had to go in for it. It was like a skin scent at that point, but the fact is, like, I could still smell it on my skin, not on my clothes. I sprayed it on my wrist, and the next day I could still smell it on my wrist, which is huge. So at least you know, like, you get your money's worth, because it's $260 Canadian, which is a lot. It's still not like as much as some other perfumes out there, but it's a lot. But at least it lasts a really long time. And even in the dry down, like I said, it's more subtle, but it's still delicious, and it's still beautiful. So that's when I get the sandalwood, is what I was trying to say. See what I mean? I get like so excited and I forget, but that's when I get the sandalwood. The dry down, I'm left with, yeah, like a cinnamon, vanilla, sandalwood, smooth, subtle, but still deliciously beautiful. That's the dry down for me. I love the opening though. I love that boozy cinnamon mixed with the sweet. It kind of smells like I said, fermented fruit and a little bit of oak. I find it, oof, amazing. Okay, so what else was I gonna say? So I wrote here that like it throughout the entire like scent journey throughout the day, it never pulled too sweet on me. Like I said, a man might find it sweet, but honestly, I don't think it's too sweet. I think this fragrance is perfectly unisex, and I don't think it's too feminine, only because it's not like overly sweet, and there's no floral notes, which personally I like love that, because I'm not a huge floral fan. But yeah, I still think a woman could definitely pull it off, I mean. And then I was gonna say, okay, so to me, this really smells like, if I had to describe it, I would say it's addicting. When I first sprayed this, I liked it. It was love at first sniff. However, I feel like the more times I wear it, like, I find it so addicting. It is addicting. It is intoxicating. It smells luxurious and like rich and decadent. I mean, the bottle, it smells like the bottle looks, okay? It smells, It smells decadent, and I feel like it came out the perfect time of the year because it came out just around like the holidays, and the holidays is when this is like an indulgent scent, I feel like. It came out the perfect time. So I honestly love that booziness. To me, it's the boozy cinnamon for me, honestly. Okay, I feel like I want to say who this would remind me of. Have you guys ever watched this show? I think it's called Queen of the South. There's like, it's a boss B female lead. There's like an amazing female lead in that show, and she's a boss in an industry that's full of like men. And she can get down and dirty, but she can also dress up and be super sexy. I feel like the main character of Queen of the South, this would be what she wears. You know what I mean? This would be her signature scent if I had to like put it with something. I literally am obsessed with it. It's the woman who wears this, like I said, I feel like men could wear this too, but a woman who wears this, I feel like she's sassy, she's confident, she wants to be noticed, because I feel like this is a little bit different. It's bossy, and you'll get noticed. You know what I mean? Like when you people will know you entered a room, kind of. So I feel like this is me. This is everything I had hoped for. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say I wish there was. I was expecting it to be a little bit sweeter than what it was. Maybe a little bit more vanilla. Again, I can't say, I don't know, it might be different on other people's skin, but I kind of had expected it to have a little bit more sweetness and a little bit more vanilla. And I have a sweet tooth, so that's just me being like gluttonous and greedy, but I can appreciate the amount of sweetness in here, and I feel like because it's not overly sickly sweet, that's why it's so intoxicating, it's so addictive. You want to go back and smell more, you want to indulge in it, because sometimes if they're too sweet, like, you get sick of them, you know what I mean? They give you a headache or they turn you off, but this one is never too sweet, so I feel like it leaves you wanting more. And that's what I can honestly say. The first time I wore this, like I said, I loved it, but the more I wear it, the more addicted to it I am, which is scary because it's expensive, but I'm obsessed. This is literally an obsession. I'm so glad I got it. I will say, like, I'm cheap, okay, you guys know this, but I will say, in my opinion, this is worth the money. I love the smell of it, I love the bottle, the craftsmanship, and it lasts forever, so I can't really complain about that. As for the whole Cinnabon comparison, like I said, I can only speak for me. Everyone's skin is different, and I guess like the temperature where you live, that could also play a factor. But on me, I wouldn't compare it to a Cinnabon, only because when they said that, I guess maybe that's why I was expecting more sweetness. So when I think Cinnabon, I think, yes, a cinnamon roll, but it's covered in that like super sweet sugary frosting, if you know what I'm talking about. The actual Cinnabon is covered in that white super sweet sugary frosting. So that's not what I get from this, because Cinnabon is super like toothache sweet, you know. This definitely has that edible gourmand vibe, but it's never too sweet. So I would say, like, in my opinion, think more like Snickerdoodle, you know, where it has like that edible, like, kind of cookie, like, edible vibe with a little bit of cinnamon, but Snickerdoodles aren't like overly sweet, right? I think, anyway. Or think like a cinnamon bun minus all that sugary frosting on top, because it's not overly sweet like that. You do get that kind of gourmand edible aspect. I would say it's definitely, oh, it's intoxicating, it's delicious. And it is a little bit warm, so again, it came out the perfect time of the year. I'm so glad I will be able to enjoy it all winter. But yeah, so think like cinnamon bun maybe, but minus that, not actual Cinnabon, minus the frosting on the top, or think like Snickerdoodle cookie. I definitely think it's unisex. And I know that some people were saying, because I did watch some reviews, like I said, like, I was literally lusting over this, and I feel like when it sold out and I couldn't get it, it just made me want it more. So I did watch some reviews when it first came out. I haven't watched any new ones, but I know that some people were saying they didn't get too much of the booziness, which is surprising, because actually for like the first few hours, I I want to say I sprayed this 4 hours ago and I still get the booziness. I get the sweet, boozy cinnamon, and I feel like the oak. And it's everything. It's delicious. It has the sweetness. It has the little spiciness from the cinnamon. I love cinnamon, but I don't find it to be like overly like dry, dusty cinnamon. So if that worries you, I don't find it to be like that. I really get that booziness, which I love, because I've purchased other fragrances for the boozy note, and unfortunately, like, I just didn't get it as much as I wanted it to. Like, I wanted it to smell like black cake. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like fruit cake. So yeah, I get the booziness that I want. I get the woodiness. I get the spiciness. I get the sweetness. And like I said, in a way, I was expecting it to be a little bit more sweet, but I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because first of all, if you wanted to layer with a little bit more vanilla, you always could. But I like that it's not too sweet, because like I said, it leaves you literally wanting more. I find myself addicted to this, and it smells so luxe, luxurious, expensive, bougie. It matches the packaging. So I think that's everything I wanted to say. I think so. Yeah. If I missed anything, then I'm sorry. But I will say, like, I was scared I was going to miss things, because I was excited, and it paid off. This was everything I was hoping for. This was a blind buy, and we're on lockdown now, so I wouldn't have been able to smell it in store either way. And like I said, if I didn't get this as a gift, I 100% would have bought it for myself either way. And I'm glad, because this is an expensive ass blind buy. But for me personally, I love it. Like I said, I don't find it too feminine, but I'll be rocking the heck out of it. So I love it. I think that it is one of the few scents that all of the notes mentioned, I could smell all of the notes in different stages, which I love, because it, in a way, for me, oh, don't quote me and then go blind buy it, but in a way, for me, I feel like this was a safe blind buy. So yeah, this was super chatty. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that little notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.